In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about homeworks and exams and how exactly those are going to function in our course. To find out where homeworks are going to be, you can see over on the side we have a little homework tab. If I click on this, I see that I have a bunch of different folders laid out for each of the different homework assignments that we'll have this semester. Let's click underneath the first one. If I click under this, you'll see that I have a link for a Homework 1 submission. Now, all homework assignments either need to be completed by hand or completed in an electronic format. You'll then end up taking pictures or scans of the homework that you have and submitting that via the link that's here. So you'll notice here that when I click on this link, I can attach some files, and that's what I'll have to do. I can attach one file or multiple files, it doesn't matter. And then I'll go ahead and click the submit button. If you don't click the submit button or wait for the assignment to fully submit, then you may not actually have submitted the assignment, and according to the syllabus, your assignment will not be counted for credit because it may end up being late. Now, you can submit assignments as many times as you want, so if you find that you made an error or something didn't get uploaded, no big deal, just re-upload everything again. And of course, if you need to leave me any comments, you can just type them in down here. Now, the homework itself, in terms of what questions do you have to answer, are questions that are created by me. They don't come out of the textbook. They don't come out of any of the worksheets. These homework assignments will become available, and you can see here I currently have it hidden, but this item will become available on at midnight of the day that it is actually assigned. So if I was to click here on Homework 1, I could see what the different questions actually look like. So I'm told what the due date is for this and the section that it covers, and then I have my homework assignment laid out here. Now, in my homework assignment, you can start to see already that I have kind of three different classifications of problems. We're going to have fundamental questions on our homework, which are kind of just our basic, bare bones, kind of just guts of the homework, which are really just focused on some of just the simple sorts of skills that we've talked about in each section. We'll also have a few questions that require deeper understanding, and these are kind of a level higher in difficulty. They're going to require that you really understand the concept and not just have step-by-step procedures memorized. So remember, we talked about that in that intro syllabus video, is that if you don't focus on understanding ideas, but you just attempt to memorize, deeper understanding questions will always be a bit more challenging. You really have to push for that understanding. And then we'll have extra credit questions. I'll have an extra credit question available on every homework. These are, again, entirely optional. They are extra credit, but they are a tier of difficulty higher than even the questions requiring deeper understanding. If all you have is kind of a memorization technique or skill set that you've learned about the associated topic, it'll be almost impossible to answer one of these extra credit questions. You really have to be able to think clearly about what's going on and why it works, and then you can start to engage with these questions. Okay? All right, so this is what a typical homework assignment is going to look like. And we've already talked about how to submit it. Now, when we go to talk about exams, exams are going to actually be located underneath their associated unit materials folder. So you'll see here, if I click underneath Unit 1 materials, I have a couple things related to the exam. First off, I have the exam study guide. This is a very, very useful document because it's going to tell you everything that you should expect about the upcoming exam, and it tells you things that you should study and also gives you a list of everything that you should know in order to be successful on the exam. Everything that you need to understand and make sure that you can do is listed here. So going through this, treating this like a good checklist is a great idea when it comes to prepping for exams. Now, the exam itself is going to be listed here, is going to be here underneath this Exam 1 folder. Now, as you'll see here, our first exam in this class will be on February the 11th, and it will actually be occurring at one of two times. You will either be able to register to take the exam at 10:30 in the morning or at 7:30 at night, and you must select the time you will take the exam before the day of the exam. Now, you'll get 90 minutes to take the test, which means that if you receive no extended time at all for any reason, then your exam at the 10:30 start time would be due by noon. And if you started the exam at 7:30, it would be due by 9 p.m. Now, the only way that you'll ever receive extended time for exams is if you have an ADS accommodation. Now, if you don't know what that is, feel free to talk with me about that. But if you do have an ADS accommodation, this is for extended time. You can definitely make use of that in my class. You'll just have to turn in the exam at the associated times. So how are you going to actually select the associated time that you're going to take the exam at? Well, if you go underneath the exam one folder there, you'll see right at the beginning you have the exam one time selection survey. You can complete this as many times as you want. You can change your mind on when you're going to take the exam all the way up until the day before the day of the exam. So if this exam is supposed to be taken on February 11th, then once the clock strikes February 11th, this item will no longer be available. You will not be able to change the time you are going to take the exam. So feel free to fill this out as soon as you know when you want to take the exam, so you know that you're set. Okay? You'll then receive a document for the exam, much like you did with the homework, and you'll submit the exam at the appropriate time here. Keep in mind that the exam is going to be 90 minutes. This is including 70 minutes for you to actually take the test and 20 minutes for you to gather all your pictures and upload and do the submission. So there should be no reason why anyone should be taking more than 90 minutes to complete their exam. I always encourage students, if they're having difficulty with uploads or anything like that, you can always feel free to email me things. If Blackboard's being a little iffy and not working well, you can always just choose to email me instead of going through the submission link. But of course, always feel free to try the link. Now, the exam will appear here on the associated day at the associated time for you. So you can see here I have the exam document, and if I was to pull it up, here's the exam. I have a nice cover page on it, and it tells you you'll have 90 minutes to complete and upload the exam, and all the rules for our exam are going to be pretty constant across all of our exams. You can see that our first exam is spread out over a total actually of 5 pages, and I have different point allocations to sum total up to 135 points. So this is what you should expect to see when it comes to the actual day of the exam. Now, the last thing to be made aware of is that in the syllabus, we actually had some policies laid out for, again, how to go about completing homeworks and exams, and it's really, really important that you understand these policies. Cheating is not okay. It's really easy most of the time for me to spot when someone is cheating, and if you are, you will end up receiving a 0 for the assignment or for the exam. And if you're working with a group of students doing this, the group is only as strong as their weakest link. If anybody is unable to kind of explain fully what's going on, everybody in the group receives a 0. That's the only way to help make it fair for those people who are honestly trying to approach the course and really make sure that they understand the content. In previous semesters, I've caught numerous students on the first homework or first exam that have been cheating, and they receive 0s. And so that's always really disappointing. It's not the way you want to start off the semester. So just make sure that you're preparing yourself well ahead of time so that you don't end up kind of in that predicament. Please make sure as well that you go back to the Start Here link and fill out that academic dishonesty survey just to make sure that and confirm that you do understand all of the implications of the syllabus and what it has to say about cheating on these 2 forms of assessment. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.